From NBC News, this is Today with Matt Lauer and Meredith Vieira. Live from Studio 1A in Rockefeller Plaza.
Sunscreen's SPF, the numbers keep rising. So now there's an even SPF 100. What should we throw into our beach bags? Well, Dr. Amy Wexler is a dermatologist and also a psychiatrist in New York City, and also the author of The Mind Beauty Connection, a very busy woman. Good morning, doctor.
Good morning, Ann.
So SPF, let's review because the season is now and it's getting confusing. What does SPF stand for?
Sure. SPF stands for Sun Protection Factor.
Okay.
It measures a sunscreen's ability to block the damaging ultraviolet B rays from the sun.
So it would seem then the higher the number, the better. We're going to get to that in just a moment.
Sure.
Let's talk about that.
Okay.
Is that true or false?
That's false.
Why?
Up until about SPF of 50, you're getting dramatic improvement in blocking the rays. But over 50 to the 90 and 100, you're blocking maybe 1% more. So some people have a false sense of security that if they're wearing an SPF 100, they're set for the day and everything's being blocked.
So then why even bother with an SPF 100 if that's not true?
I think it's more of a marketing thing for these sunscreen companies, and some of my patients feel better with a higher number, and I don't mind as long as they're using something.
So 30 is your baseline then. The idea is 30.
Exactly.
Okay. So here's another myth or not myth, I don't know. As long as I put on a sunscreen once a day, I'm fine.
That is a myth. That is false.
Sunscreen, how often?
Every 2 to 3 hours. Every 2 hours if someone's sweating or swimming. Sunscreen only lasts for about 2 or 3 hours, and then it's broken down. So that's probably the biggest error that people make, is they put it on once and that's it.
What if you are someone who has made it a routine to sort of as I know people are starting to do, put it on in the morning when they brush their teeth.
Right.
They're not sweating, they're not working out, they're just wearing it during their day or under their makeup. Do they have to put it on more than once? If
they're inside, no. So that's what I do in the morning for work, but if it's a day outside or at the park or at the beach or pool, definitely reapply it.
Okay. Okay, let's or foundation. I don't need sunscreen with SPF.
That is false. Some moisturizers and foundations do have sunscreen in them, but if they don't block the rays at all.
Okay. So the Food and Drug Administration 2 years ago proposed capping the SPF number at 50. That didn't happen.
No, in August of 2007, they made all these new proposed regulations, and none of them have come out yet. So as of now, a sunscreen can be released up to 100.
So if that's true, and you're saying it doesn't really offer you that much more protection after 30, what would be your best advice for those of us who are shopping? Because now we really realize, because it is a major preventative for not only sun damage, but for issues that you might get, medical issues you might get with your skin.
Of course, sunscreen protects against skin cancer and also against wrinkles and sunspots.
Okay.
So as long as it's a sunscreen that's an SPF of 30, but what's really important is that it's broad spectrum. So it's covering both the damaging UVA and UVB rays.
How do you know that then? You don't look at the number, you're looking for it saying UVA?
Over here, this one says UVA, UVB, broad spectrum protection. And the new labeling will be much clearer because SPF just says UVB, but there'll also be UVA ranking system, probably with pluses. Okay.
And when is that new ranking system coming out?
That's a great question. We've been waiting for it for a couple of years, so hopefully soon.
Okay, so until then, look for the UVA and UVB broad sunscreen protection.
Exactly.
Okay, what about skin type? Some people have very greasy skin, combination skin, very dry skin. Does that influence what kind of sunscreen you should use?
Sure. There are now oil-free face sunscreens, so anyone with acne or oily skin should definitely buy an oil-free sunscreen. Otherwise, you can really use anything and try what you like. I just want my patients to use sunscreen, so there's so many choices now.
And also, isn't it also true that we should really make a conscious effort to protect our children up into the age of 21? That is the most vulnerable time for skin damage. Is that correct?
That is.
So what is it that we should be doing? Because boy, they're going to be in the pool, they're going to be running around outside on the lawn. What should we be doing?
They are. Sunscreen is not the only way to block against the sun. So before they go outside in the morning, slather them with sunscreen, but then there's sunglasses, hats, and sun protective clothing, which thankfully now has gotten more fashionable. So my kids, for example, wear rash guards, which are those surf shirts when they're at the beach or at the pool, and those block all of the rays. So you don't have to even put sunscreen on underneath it, which is great. My son often is it's hard to capture him to slather on the sunscreen. So if he's got the shirt on, then I know I don't have to do that part of his body.
Right. Those originally you're supposed to wear them for when you're surfing, but they're just very form-fitting things that you wear with your bathing suit. And my kids like like those as well. Dr. Amy Wexler, thank you so much for some great advice this morning.
Thanks for having me.
You're welcome. And coming up next from